So, how are you? Everything okay? So, let's start. Okay, a few words before we begin. This is not marketing presentation. This is not how to deliver your games to the publishers, how to convince them. There is no set of golden rules, and please do not treat my presentation also as a set of golden rules. There are no such golden rules. As I mentioned here, you probably can ignore my presentation and still deliver a successful game. However, I consider that my presentation is somehow about risk management. And of course, in business, including game development, there is no possibility to reduce the risk. Moreover, you should be as risky as possible, but you should avoid unnecessary risk. And few points which I want to point out is about that. Few words about me. The Snatch movie, my favorite one. What do I know about game dev? Yeah, I know I'm here only 5 years, but my experience is quite huge. I'm almost 30 years in IT telecommunication business, and I was managing people up to teams up to 120 people. Moreover, because I finished computer science on Silesian Institute. And then I finished MBA, and then I finished film school. I have some mix of different opinions on things which are going in game dev. And I consider myself as a person responsible for strategic planning and as a problem solver as well. So in Anshore Studios, where Łukasz Hatsura is playing a leading role as a CEO, I'm sit in the back, and from time to time I'm asking questions. Why? What for? How did it happen? What could we did better? And so on. So I'm not directly involved in production of any games. I'm the backseat passenger, moreover. But it helps me from time to time to look with some distance. And why this presentation? I'm attending a lot of conferences, and very often I find that there is a lot of confusion between indies. Oh, I created my game, I put my heart, all effort in that, and then I earned almost nothing, or it would be cheaper or would be more profitable to get any job, because I was earning doing this game $2 per hour, while the minimum wage is $8, so it was not good business. And of course, as I mentioned, there is no way to guarantee you a success. But however, somehow you can minimize the unnecessary risk. And moreover, people are confused, looking for new technologies, looking for new sales channels, and the knowledge about how to minimize the risk is as old as the story about Julius Cesar. And when I was attending these conferences, I ran again to the book called About Civil War. It is some kind of book written by Julius Caesar about his experiences during Civil War with Pompey, who was in opposition to him. And yeah, if you read it, I seriously say you should read it. It's a historical book, but well, you probably can find some answers to problems of game dev as well. So some basic things you should pay attention when you are preparing the new business, new project. Regardless, it can be your personal project or project as a team. So let's start with strategy. Very often we forgot about strategy. It's more like, oh, let's do the game, great, it will be for sure great because we have great ideas and so on. So I think that this is a very important question. Why? Yeah, you probably know Simon Sinek why, but it's not this kind of question. But why in general game dev? Yeah? Maybe IT. Maybe it's better way to earn money. Why on my own? Maybe it's better to earn money and learn whatever you can learn for somebody else's money. Yeah? So maybe we should start on the beginning as a workforce in another company. Okay, maybe we want to create own projects, but maybe we should create third-party projects, like Sperasoft, for example, the company from Krakow. If you look at their portfolio, it's really impressive. So you can say later, oh, I was creating Assassin's Creed or whatever, you name it. Their portfolio is huge. Why do you insist that you want to be indie, yeah? Create your own projects for own money, friends' money, family money, you know that story. So you should really answer that question, and the answer as well, where and when where I want to be in 10 years doing such projects. What knowledge I gain, what experience, is it really the things which I think are okay? And then there are questions like, should I do it full-time or after the work? Should I find some money from extra source, pay it for yourself? What are the resources I have? What competences I have or my team has? And at the end, what kind of games can I make? Because the market itself is huge. We have basic division between mobile and PC console, and if you know how to make games on mobile, probably you don't know so much how to make the games on PC and console, and vice versa. So there is a lot of questions which should be answered on the beginning as this strategic thinking. So that's the first thing. Second one, the team itself. In Julius Cesar times and before, there was the division between Hastati, Principis, and Triari. It was junior, regular, and senior, like today in game dev. And there is very strong conclusion coming out of that. Probably, maybe it can happen, but probably it will be very difficult or even impossible to win the battle only with Hastati juniors, and the same is when you're running company only with juniors. So if you're starting the project as a small team of juniors after the university, it's okay, but keep it in mind that somehow you can take care how to provide support of somebody who is more experienced, who can give you some advice, who can review the code, who can consult your ideas. So this is the price. If you don't do it, you have to pay the price. Usually, it means that you make more mistakes. It's okay. It's okay for people to make mistakes, but probably it will cost you more time and more money, and the result will be, well, doubtful, let's say. And in Julius Caesar times, they started the specialization and professionalization of the soldiers. So the same is in case of the team who is around you as a manager, as a studio owner, or if you are working with friends. So the question is, who is responsible for what are the roles, and what is the accounting model? Because the early Roman troops were in loot mode, so they were not paid, or at least they were paid very little. And then, as the legions were growing and the Rome was growing, they moved to the salary-based enumeration. And this is what's happening in the game dev. Some people are starting to work for free or for future rev share. So this is the loot mode, unfortunately, and there is no loot sometimes. And if you are more grown-up company, you are more grown-up and have more responsibilities as a family member, as a father, husband, or wife, mother, so you are more interested in salary. So that's what you have to think about in case that you want to create a team of people. And the earlier you start to think about it, there is a chance it will be more disappointment and problems with team. The second thing is training. Training was a basic thing of a Roman army. Before joining the army, you had to train like 4 months every day, and then repeatedly you had to train from time to time. And in my opinion, it's not happening. Okay, you finish university, then you, of course, you attend some extra courses, but you are not regularly training like. I mean, the sportsman who is preparing for some championship. Meanwhile, it's very important to do the training because, first of all, it's human interaction, and we should practice human interaction. A lot of people in game dev are introverts, and they are not very favorite in the move to talk to each other. They prefer to sit at the front of the computer and do the job. Well, it is possible to work like that, but I strongly encourage everybody, every of you, to leave the room from time to time and to start to talk to other people and exchange information, exchange knowledge, to raise the skills, and one of the very important things, to pitch your ideas to other people. Because your idea about the game, whatever it is, probably it's great, it still can be better. We do it in Unsure Studios consequently, like the idea for game who is in development right now was born like 2.5 years ago and was pitching to other designers, to other developers. They were giving feedback, they were iterating. So I consider it training. So it's not only raising your technical skills, not only raising your social skills, but also raising the knowledge how your game and idea for your game is perceived by other people. So if you hear that, well, maybe it's not okay, and especially if the senior people are saying that, who saw a lot of games and know a lot of projects, maybe you should consider some changes. So it is continuous iteration, and you should put a lot of stress on it, that your game idea or project you are currently running, it's not brilliant from the beginning. So please keep it in mind. Next thing is alliances. So a lot of people, as I say, introverts, has the tendency to sit and do it everything on your own. And then you have the results like, oh, I created this game, but there was no graphic guy, so it is a temporary graphics, and in general the game looks, well, not so good. Believe me, there is a lot of people who will willing to cooperate with you if you provide them some kind of motivation, future solutions, like how we can make the game together, and so on. There are also technology partners, there are publishers, and the only thing you have to do is to ask, simply ask for help, for support, for assets. There are companies who are giving assets for free. I don't have to talk about the more advanced tools as well. They are for free as well. And cash is not always the issue in this case. That's, by the way, how Unsure Studio was started, when 5 guys who exit City Interactive decided to create some games, which is unreleased till now, but still how they started. And they decided to create the game called The Path of Kara. And that was the beginning of the Unsure Studios. Nobody was asking about money, but everybody was saying, okay, let's create the game. So don't do, and whatever you have to do, try to find some supporting partners, and you will be surprised how many people can support you. This one is one of the more important things, which is intelligence or reckon. So you have to know where is your enemy. In case of Roman times and Julius Cesar, of course, he had to find where the Pompey and his army is. in case of current times and game dev projects, the biggest problem I find is that we have, I call it heuristic approach that, okay, I have an idea and start immediately to work, which is leading to serious misunderstandings. Of course, if you are a junior, you probably don't know what you don't know, which I called ignorance. But it's also happening to seniors, and it is ignorance because you know that you know something better. So it's instead of doing some basic research, you are creating the game which is a flop or fail, and you are surprised more or less. And I will give you two examples how some basic research, which I named, let me Google it for you, how some basic research would be enough to at least have some questions about the game. Because you can Google or find on Steam Spy, if you are Patreon right now, how a particular kind of games were performing. But the things which is not very often done is what resources are needed to create some kind of game, or is the idea about the game itself good? For example, there was a guy calling me, oh, I created new platform game, which is almost ready, of course, as usual, for mobile, platform for mobile. Good luck. And I said, well, it can be difficult to exist on this market. Yeah, but it's brave new idea, and it will be some kind of music game. So like Guitar Hero, and I say, okay, but 90% of users have their phones switched off, so how did you run to this idea in general? Another story, of course, a group of young people who are very ambitious and good luck, and I am happy that they are good luck, coming and they are saying they want to create massive multiplayer game. And of course there are two programmers, one graphic artist, that's all. But okay, let's assume that they can do it, then find another guys. But I'm asking, so do you know how many words is in such kind of game on average? And they say, oh, how many? And I say, okay, in such games, it can be up to 500, 600,000 words, which is, for your information, if you don't know, all Tolkien books or all Harry Potter books. And my question is, do you have a writer? No. So you don't have a writer, and you want to create the game, which needs some serious writing skills. Do you think it is okay? Well, we can handle that. That's the answer. So this is some examples, like very basic, that from the scratch you are running into the troubles, yeah? Because it's not quite possible to do such things without experienced writers. The next one, and I'm a little embarrassed to write those things, but because it's so obvious, there are so many tools. You have Unity, you have other great tools which are for free or very cheap. You have very cheap assets, or they are for free. And you wouldn't believe how many people is coming with the idea, okay, we are writing a platform game and we want to create our own engine. And what can I say? And Łukasz, who is sitting in the room, can confirm that he had some special supervision program to juniors, and he had such ideas even a few months ago. And when he doubted, he said, do you really think it is a good idea not to use Unity but create own engine? Of course, of course. And the guy, because it was a guy, he was fighting for his idea. No, I have to have my own engine. So no, you don't have to. Use the technology as Roman did. It gave them great advantage. They beat it sometimes the 10 times stronger armies using technology, but don't invent everything from scratch. Rather, you should use the tools which help you to create good pipeline, and not the engine itself. A few words about tactics. You would be surprised how many times Romans were avoiding combat or fight. They were looking for better position to somehow gain the advantage over the opposite side. So they are running around each other and not fighting. And the same is with your project. As long you are not sure that you gain the maximum advantage, you shouldn't start the project. It's like a rocket launch. If you probably you've seen so many times that each section has to, do you have go or no go, go or no go? The same is here. Do we have the budget? Do we have the resources, which are human resources usually, but not only sometimes? Do we have proper time frame? Because if we end up in Q4, probably it will be difficult to release the game and so on. And do we have proper input? Like do we really start with the concept of the game, and do we know what we want to create? So don't do it if there is no go for such questions, and probably many more. I didn't try to ask as all questions here. And the backup plan. That was also some kind of basic in case of army, Julius Caesar army. For example, they were creating 2 bridges just in case one is broken, and then there is a risk that the army will be caught in some kind of trap and they will be killed. So they were creating 2 bridges. Of course, you cannot write 2 programs or doing such double secured actions in gaming, but at least start with what if thinking, okay? What if it will be the delay in this area? What is the critical path? How much problems it means for us? I wrote a sentence, seasonal shots. It's coming from the film industry, that you have to make some filming because, for example, it has to be in winter and the snow is melting. And if you miss the time frame, you are delayed like 6 months. The same is in game dev because of the publisher's calendar and AAAs going on this thing in Q4 and holiday break and E3 and so on. So you should keep in mind that sometimes very small delay on the beginning can have, like in the movie, it can be the butterfly effect. So think about these options. Maybe you don't have to have backup plan always, but at least you should consider some problems and have some basic solution for that. Gaining the advantage. You would be surprised how many battles were won during the Julius Caesar times only by running. Usually it was like that. They spotted some point, usually a small hill, and they were dropping all heavy equipment and running to that point only to stand on the top, and they were having advantage on the troops which were downstairs. And if you read that book, you will find that it's written 1 and 2nd and 3rd times. They were running to the hill to gain the advantage. And in my opinion, there is such case also in game dev. It is the prototype. You should run as crazy to have your prototype ready, or whatever you can call it, but something you can show to the people, to the publishers, to the players, even in assisted mode, that you are saying no, don't go there, it's not ready, and more likely even if it is full vertical slice. But you should confront your assumptions with reality as soon as possible. So I call it gaining advantage, because and even in this year we had the cases of game flops because of some assumptions. Okay, we were thinking that this game will be doing great, and players were more than disappointed. If you do such confrontation, you can iterate, you can improve whatever is not working. Of course, there is a balance, because the list of wishes from the players can be long, and you have to decide, okay, this is good enough, here is the cut. But still, the worst scenario is to sit in the studio for 2 years and then to release the game and realized that, oh, it's something not what everybody were expecting. Oops, sorry, not this button. There was a huge battle during the Civil War between Julius Caesar and Pompey, when Pompey here had really huge advantage, like 4 times he was smashing the Julius Caesar's units, and they were doomed almost. But somehow on the left wing, the Julius Caesar teams were thinking, only thinking. There was no reason for that, but they were thinking that they are winning. And they raised, hooray, they were screaming. And because they were screaming on the left wing, the right wing were thinking, oh, we are winning. And they started to scream as well. When the both wings, losing wings, started to scream, the Pompey army started to think, oh, we are losing. And then starting to run away. And it ended with mass slaughter. So much smaller army of Caesar, which was in trouble, just slaughter all Pompey army. And there are 2 morals from that. One is very basic. If you think you are going to lose, you will lose. Sounds pretty obvious, but you would be surprised how many times it's happening in our minds. In Ansher Studios we did it like 2 years ago. Oh, this project is crap, and it was crap. So still it's happening, even in the advanced team, because the Ansher Studios 2 or 3 years ago, it was team of senior people mostly. So the morale is very important, and there are of course, there is no time to talk what are the factors which increase morale, but just in short, the comfort and satisfaction of the team is very important, like as well the short and long-term benefits. And there is also something which I called justice of perception of justice, which can be very easy ruined, because people are very sensitive for actions which they recognize as injustice. And one of the typical things which is happening in Polish companies is, okay, we are earning this, and new person is coming, or new branch is created, and they are earning much more. And of course, the data is confidential, but sooner or later, people know about it. And then it's morale down, and people are leaving company, and so on. So it's only one example, but still, you should take care about morale. And the second lesson, because Julius Caesar won that battle, if you have a brand, personal brand, company brand, you can do much more. So you should create the brand of your company and of yourself brand. First of all, you should focus on some area. You cannot be good in everything. Then adopt some style and quality, and master it. Then propagate and share. Looks very simple. Of course, it's a long-term process, and success helps. If you are composer of music for Witcher, it's easier to create the brand, like Mikołaj Stroiński or Marcin Przybylowicz. It's easier to create your personal brand. But still, you probably know a lot of people with brand in game dev. Hideo Kojima is a good example. And in Poland, I can give you a lot of names, and you probably agree that those people have brand. So create the brand. As a company, you can specialize in mockups, in porting, in different areas, and you create the brand. And then you will be able to win much more battles. This one is more about company culture. You probably remember Gladiator, when the main hero, played by Russell Crowe, was giving high fives to all soldiers before the battle and after the battle. And that was the Julius Caesar style. He was really like this. He had thousands of people, and he knew a lot of them by name, and he was a taking care person. He was down to the people. Of course, it's difficult when you are a CD project and you have 700 persons, but in most of the cases, our companies are like 10, 20, 50, 60, 70. So I encourage you to do that. And it's also a challenge for introverts, but in my opinion, this is how you earn the respect. And this is the good way to make people that they are feeling with the company and with you as a leader. However, I can say that even keeping open door and the rule, you can ask me anything all the time, it's sometimes not enough, because people sometimes afraid to ask, and sometimes they're afraid to come. So it's still very, very sensitive area. So it should be a lot of attention put to this topic, because if you have a good team, it's easier to survive even when the times are tough. Oh, not this button. The next one is authority. Most of the companies, especially in game dev, have holocratic origins. Like, okay, there are 4 guys and we pat everybody's back. Oh, let's make the game. We are together. But sooner or later, first of all, you realize that not everybody are working enough in the same, like the hours or so on. Then you have different visions. Then maybe, well, somebody wants to quit, or the tough times came. So in my opinion, the sooner you quit this holocratic vision and you create one person as a leader and as a person responsible for good times and bad times, the better for the company is. So even in good times, when you have growth management cases, it can be sometimes problematic. And during crisis management, these democratic, holocratic methods are not working at all. So the leader in the company should create his authority as soon as possible and take care about the company itself and for the people. One of the last, I think, it's topic when I've met this situation a lot of times. Oh, we are indie, we are not talking about money. Please do talk. Do you think that it is possible to focus on things like how to create good games when you are thinking about your unpaid bills? Well, I don't think so. We have this Maslow pyramid, which shows that first thing first. Of course, some specialists discuss that it's not on you can doubt some examples from that pyramid, but still, Julius Cesar was one of the most wealthiest men in the world, and then they were still taking care about money. But first of all, you should create some kind of budget awareness that a lot of people is not counting money at all. So, okay, I'm living, I'm spending or not spending, and whatever will be. So create some basic countings and do the calculation, do the math, and follow up the spendings. If there is in your budget assumption that 100,000 zlotys is coming, and if it is not coming, it doesn't mean that you should execute your spending plan in 100%. You should reduce the spendings as well, and focus on that, because of course maybe it's not that you have to act as an investment bank, but still keeping the money in mind helps. And this one is the last. This case is about Pompey, not Julius Caesar. He lost to Caesar like 10 times, 12 times, and every time he lost, he was not giving up. He was raising another army, he was taking some alliances, and he was fighting because he believed in the case. Unfortunately, he lost at the end, and he lost his life as well. But still, if you think if you're in trouble, read the book, and you will see that how he was standing and not giving up. And the important thing is to learn from failures. Even if you fail and learn from that, it's nothing wrong. Especially if you deliver the game, which didn't sell well, but it wasn't a crap, but the quality game, you deliver the quality game, you can benefit from that a lot. Because professionals who are looking for people for hire, they know, they will probably ask you what did go wrong, and if you answer and can prove that you were thinking about it quite seriously, and that there was just the case that money ended up too soon or something like this, they will appreciate that, and probably you will get money for new projects or get a job, whatever you are willing to find. So, I mentioned in the presentation 6 + 2 + 1 questions you should ask yourself. You have the link to this presentation, and this is the beginning everything I said. And on the end is the premiere of our detached game on VR. So if you want to see the trailer, announcement trailer, you can make a photo of that as well. And the presentation is online as usual, and if you have any questions, I'm ready to answer them. Thank you.